All right, next up for you guys, obviously Corey Anderson versus Johnny Walker. Quite the fight. I must say that Johnny Walker's antics caught up with him in this fight.
I think so.
And Corey Anderson was having none of it.
Yeah. First of all, I like Corey Anderson a lot. Not necessarily wasn't like love from first sight with Corey because I don't know, he looks a little rough. You don't know like what to expect from the guy. He doesn't say much, which was very different after this fight. He like kind of opened up, like kind of acted out, if you want to like say it that way or whatever. Right. But I think I don't judge that. I think that was totally cool. He should do that. Why not? Fucking Johnny Walker was pulling all kinds of antics before the fight, and that can be very frustrating. And I think Johnny Walker just believed his own hype, and that's not healthy in any case.
Just his body language in general. I mean, he was leaning up against the cage, and crossing his legs, and the camera came toward him while Bruce Buffer was announcing his name, and he's ducking and diving underneath the camera. And Corey Anderson's like, "What's this goof doing? Like, this is my professional craft."
That's the greatest word that describes it, I think. Fucking Johnny Walker looked like a goofball and a half, bro.
You can't be going out there looking like that, man. If you look at the total strikes, he's landed 1 strike. He got finished in 2.5. So let's get this straight. His last 3 fights prior lasted the duration of about a combined 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Yeah. He goes in the last 2 minutes and gets knocked out. Like, this is the thing, buddy. You're going out there braggadocious and you're trying to knock everybody out immediately and act like a fool. Like when he got rocked the first shot from Corey Anderson, the first big shot landed. Johnny was hurt, but he tried to do the rope-a-dope. He got hit, and he's like, and then tried to throw a right hook out of nowhere, but the right hook slipped off of Corey Anderson's left hook and went high. Yep. And by that time, Corey Anderson landed the second shot that dropped Johnny. And then it just was punch, punch, punch. Mm-hmm. Now, when the fight ended, Johnny Walker was still standing, and he wasn't stumbling, he wasn't wobbly. I personally would have liked to see it go on a little bit longer.
Maybe, yeah.
Although I think he still would have lost the fight.
Yeah.
What were your takeaway? Was that an okay stoppage to you?
Yes and no. Like you said, I would have liked it to maybe go on for another 10 seconds, maybe. We'll see how the whole scramble like turned out. I'm never a huge fan of like the standing stops to fights when it's like a standing TKO. I don't like those because the guy is still standing. You know.
Why was there only 1 knockdown? That's my thing. It's like he knocked him down with 1 initial punch, but there wasn't a second knockdown. So I'm kind of like, let's see what happens. Give him a chance. Like, whatever. It's fine. He's probably going to lose. But at what point are you saving a man from himself versus just getting in there and jumping in there a little bit too preemptively, at least just in my view. But
slightly.
I can also understand why you would stop the fight.
Of course. I'm not saying it's a mistake in any facet, like the referee. I don't think he made a mistake. I'm totally fine with the stoppage. Johnny Walker was getting his ass whooped, so that's cool. But like I said, I'm never a fan of the standing TKOs. I like to see the person actually fall down, because once you're standing, the other guy might be throwing flurries at you. You might be surviving them, but until you drop, I don't think you're finished yet. Now, again, Johnny Walker acted like a complete goofball with his body language.
He did.
Before the fight and during the fight, which is the more devastating part of things. He was just like jumping around. Like,
at what point did you beat yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's just not a good look. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, jumping around there like a goofball. Hopefully, this is a lesson that dislocating his left shoulder last time during a celebration clearly didn't teach him. Yeah. So that's his first loss. Hopefully, it's humbling. And this is be yourself. I think part of it was being authentically him. But there's a time and a place for everything, as my mother would say. And I think in the midst of the fight, that's not it. That ain't it. Yeah. Now, obviously, with the other fights, there were some great ones. We just want to touch on them quickly for the rest of the prelims. Sure. We had Shane Burgos take on Makwan Amirkhani. What was your takeaway from that fight? That was a great performance by Burgos.
Oh, it was amazing. Burgos looked like a beast. And, obviously, his cardio was amazing. Or it was just amazing in comparison to Amirkhani's. But I think it was both. I think Burgos' cardio and his endurance is pretty good to start off with against anyone. And then Amirkhani's cardio is low in comparison to anyone else as well.
It's always been a problem.
And he was just shooting for these single leg, double leg, kind of very half-assed shots.
Where you're not
single shots.
You're telegraphing them. You're not setting them up. You're just grabbing at people because you just have no stamina. There's a point where like Burgos was standing him up, stand up, and Makwan would just refuse to get up.
Yeah, no, it was obvious how like just exhausted he was.
Right.
So I think that's what ultimately won him the fight. That's not to take anything away from Shane, who has amazing striking, and I think he's a very tough customer for sure.
For sure.
So not to take anything away from him, but there was definitely a lot of downsides to Amirkhani's game as well.
There was he got out of a little scramble in the first round in terms of a submission attempt by Amirkhani. That's his game.
Yeah.
Burgos got out of it, and the output at the end of by the time the fight was ended at 4 minutes 32 seconds of the last round. 161 total strikes versus 23 tells you everything you needed to know about how outclassed Amirkhani was on the feet. Now moving on to Brad Tavares taking on Edmen Shahbazyan. Now obviously Shabazyan did end this fight in the first round, 2.5 minutes into it.
Yes.
And he was looking a little bit more cut than he was last time, which is good to see. He's 21 years old. He's definitely got a great future ahead of him. He stays undefeated in this.
So he does. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah. He does train with Ronda's coach, right? What was the guy's name?
Forgot his name now, but yes.
Yeah.
That's great for him. 2 knockdowns in this fight against Brad Tavares. While you look that up, and to see Edmund go out there and perform the way he did, all it took were 14 strikes to end this fight. 14 strikes in 2.5 minutes, and all of them counted. All of them were significant, and it made all the difference in the fight. Yeah. I mean, he really looked sharp. He rocked Brad Tavares early, but he understood you don't need to swarm.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it was Edmund Tavares.
Tavares.
Who had a lot of flack right after Ronda's
right. Because he was feeding into a lot of her mentality of invincibility and
the striking
and
game
saying that she can strike anybody. Yeah. So
he was trying to turn into a boxer and all that shit.
Shabazyan definitely has every tool he needs to go very far in this promotion. Good. And he's 21 years old. Hopefully they don't fast track him too quickly. You don't want to see the star fizzle out, a la Sage Northcutt and Rory McDonald and these kids that get pushed out because they were pushed too quickly.
That's very true.
And then the last fight, obviously, want to touch on here is Arlovski taking on Jairzinho. Now Arlovski got finished for the first time in the last 8 fights of his. But what I will say is that Jairzinho looked like he's got world class heavyweight power.
Yeah. Oh, for real.
Fadeaway left hook. Knockout.
I don't know what to make of it, honestly, because I don't know if it's just Arlovski being the 40-year-old guy that's been knocked out plenty. But you made a good point when we was talking before the podcast that Arlovski has actually not been knocked out in 8 fights or something like that.
Right.
Which I was shocked to hear because my impression, what's in my head is like that he gets knocked out pretty much every single time lately.
Right.
I'm not talking about his heyday back in the day, but obviously, man, every time I see Arlovski get knocked out, I'm not shocked. It just seemed like again, not taking anything away from Jairzinho as well, like his power and all that shit, but a fadeaway to I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's just been a slew of decisions here for Arlovski. Decisions. The last one he got knocked out by was Ngannou back in 2017.
Okay, that's understandable.
So then he fought Tybura, lost a decision. Albini, he won the decision. Struve, he won the decision. Tuivasa, he lost the decision. And just keep going all the way on down up until this point. Now Rozenstruik is a kickboxer, decorated. He's got belts from there, and he came over. And I remember Arlovski before this fight was talking about Rozenstruik saying that he's a cheater because he got caught greasing his chest in a fight before. Okay. Said he's a dirty fighter, blah blah blah, and he gets knocked out in 29 seconds. So, I mean, what does that say? That there's no greasing involved there. You just got knocked out. So, I mean,
could have used some greasing there, Arlovski.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? But hey, man. Yeah. The whole point is, when do you say when? Fucking Arlovski, amazing guy back in the day, obviously. I don't know, man. It's just fucking. Who am I to tell him to retire? But
Right.
fucking,
Might be time. It might be time.
Might be time.
And just quickly for the early prelims, Caitlin Shakugian, she looks great. She's probably going to be fighting Valentina next. And Dana White confirmed as much afterwards. She looked great against Jennifer Maia. Lehman Good he looked really good.
I missed that fight.
Oh, that was a great one. Chance Rencounter is a very, very durable guy, but he got outclassed on the feet. Lehman Good was just power shot after power shot, and then paced himself enough to eventually knock out Chance Rencounter, and that. He's going to have to go back to the drawing board, and Lehman Good's looking really, really nice. New York native, great to see him win at home. And then, obviously, Julio Arce took on Hakeem Dawodu, and Julio came up on the short end of things against the Canadian from Calgary. And Dawodu, after the fight, said that he wasn't happy with his performance, though.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
And that's the entire card. We don't usually do that. But, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yep. I know I did. Seriously. It was a great 6 hours.
I think it was a worth wow thing to review. It was a great card. Like we said before that, we don't know if we're going to see anything of that magnitude until December, possibly next year. So it was a great highlight, and we're going to be looking at the futures of most of those fighters that we reviewed.
All right, perfect. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace for now.
Peace.